So, hi everyone. So, in our previous session, we covered how we can store data with the help of traditional database system. That is, what are all the different sources for traditional database system. So, as you can see, these were the examples for structured data. These were the examples for semi-structured data. We were using SQL in order to create a relational database management system in order to store the traditional data. Suppose if we wanted to store large data using RDBMS, it was not actually possible because it was lacking some features, your RDBMS or SQL. So distributed data management system, data distributed over a network. So, but if you're using in-memory column format data and in-memory row format data, it had some advantages during processing and all those things. And lastly, we saw how we can integrate data from different sources at the enterprise level. So in this particular presentation, we are going to see how we can store big data. So actually, we are not going to use any SQL. SQL is not suitable for storing big data. It is only suitable for storing a smaller amount of relational data. If you want to store big data, then the approach we are going to use NoSQL, or it is also called as not only SQL. Your NoSQL databases are mainly used for storing semi-structured data. So NoSQL stands for NoSQL or not only SQL. So the stores do not integrate with applications using SQL. So as mentioned, you cannot use this particular big data to be stored with SQL. Some of the features of NoSQL, these are some of the features of NoSQL. It is a non-relational data storage system, whereas your SQL is a relational data storage system. It consists a class of uninterrupted key value. It will be usually in the form of the data you will be storing can contain a class of key value pair. The example is Amazon Web Service, and it can contain unordered key. What do you mean by unordered key? If there are no ranking when storing the keys, as if you are storing the keys randomly, then that is called as unordered key. If you're storing the keys in ordered keys, so the examples you can use is Bigtable, Cassandra. These are some of the classes. So if you can use this particular technology to store ordered keys. So if you are storing only JavaScript object notation, you can make use of MongoDB. So these are some of the classes of NoSQL. So you can store name value. For that, you can use CouchDB. If you are storing name and a corresponding value for that particular name. Most of the classes that you are going to use in NoSQL, they won't be having any fixed schema. That was not the case with respect to SQL. There, it was having a fixed schema. So, and also it won't be using any joins. Your SQL was using many joins, left join, right join, full join. So that was left outer join, right outer join. That was not the case with respect to NoSQL. There are no joins. It won't be using any joins. And also the data written will be replicated at multiple nodes. So even if one of the nodes fails, then you can obtain the data at another node. That's why it is called as fault tolerant. There is no need to follow the ACID rules. It might relax your ACID rules, but that was not the case with respect to a database in SQL. The ACID rules cannot be relaxed. S stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. It cannot be relaxed with respect to SQL, but it can be relaxed with respect to NoSQL. Your data store, the place where you're storing your data, it follows your CAP theorem. CAP theorem means the major three properties: consistency, availability, and partition. What do you mean by consistency? That means all the copies should have same value, just like in traditional database. What are all the copies you are maintaining? As I already told, it is fault tolerant. That means there will be multiple copies at multiple nodes. So all those copies should have same value. That is called as consistency. Availability means at least one of the copies should be available when you require that particular copy. That is availability. Partition means the parts which are active but may not cooperate as in the distributed way. That means the copies will be distributed. Then only the active parts that won't be cooperating with other databases, so other copies. So as if you can say, you'll be dividing the copy into multiple copies. Only one of them will be active, will be interacting. The other may not be active. They won't be interacting. That is called as partition. This is CAP properties with respect to NoSQL. These are some of the features of NoSQL. How can we coexist big data with NoSQL and traditional database? Coexistence of big data, NoSQL, and traditional database. This is an example in which you can show how your SQL can coexist with the big data. So as you can see, this is a relational database. So using relational database, if this is the data source. The relational database is the data source. That means it is a database containing relational data. Then you can use this, that is business application that are having structural data. If you're having business application which has structural data, then you can make use of relational database, that is SQL. Some of the tools that you can use to store relational data are some of the tools that you can use to store business application which produce structured data are MySQL, Oracle, IBM Database 2, some of the HP packages. This can be used to store structured data that is produced by business applications. If you are having data in a columnar format, that is, if you are using data to perform some analysis, so then the input will be high performance query. That is, the data source will be, so here the data source was relational database. You are storing in a relation. If you're storing the data in a columnar format, then these are the input, the queries and analytics. For that, these are the tools you can use. So if you're storing data in a NoSQL database, it can be MongoDB or it can be Amazon Web Service. That is the NoSQL class of databases. For that, you need data in this format: key value pairs, name value pairs, columnar format. So these are some of the tools that you can use in order to store data in NoSQL database. Hadoop clusters. So for example, if the data is stored at distributed over a network, then you can store that data in Hadoop clusters. So for that, you can use these two tools: Apache SDFS, Apache Distributed File System. So if you will be storing the data in a network at different nodes in a cluster. Web applications. So if you are storing data in web application, then you need to get the data generated from various web application. These are the tools you can use for this particular data. Cloud data. It is nothing but outsourced databases. That means if you're just taking any data on rent, then those data can be stored as cloud data. For that, you can use these tools: Amazon Web Services, Rackspace, Google SQL. These are the tools you can use to store your cloud data. So there are some other databases. For example, if you want to store text data, images, then that can be stored as social media data. These are the tools which stores social media data. So the first column specifies the data source. That means where, in what format you will be storing your data, from where you are getting that particular data, what are all the tools that can be used to deal with this type of data. So these are the three columns. So the first row represents the traditional data source. The remaining all are with respect to the big data source. So as you can see the coexistence of RDBMS with NoSQL. So, but your RDBMS can only deal with different type of data. So if you are using Hadoop distributed file system, then you can make use of big data stack. If you are using high volume, billion of terabyte of data, social media data, then this all can become MongoDB. These all tools can be used in order to store this many variety of data. Or document, images, data warehouse and data marts, all this data can be stored in your NoSQL DB. If you are storing any data in the cloud, that is big data stack is a cloud, then you can make use of SDFS to store that particular type of content. If you are storing any log information, any web server related information, then you can make use of the traditional RDBMS, SQL tables or Oracle in order to store that particular kind of data. So this is how your RDBMS can coexist with the NoSQL, that is big data, clusters, Hadoop and all those things. But the input that you are giving in order to store at the RDBMS will be different than compared to the input you will give for the big data storage technologies, which are NoSQL DB, MongoDB, and all those things. So in this particular topic, we covered big data storage. What are all the features of NoSQL? Is it won't be using any joins. It is fault tolerant. It may relax to ACID rules. There are different ways, there are different classes for storing your NoSQL kind of data. Then we saw how your NoSQL can coexist with the big data technologies. We saw this particular diagram also. We saw with the help of examples also. So in the next topic, we are going to cover the big data platform. That is, what are all the technologies that is provided by big various companies to support big data. Big data supports large data set. So the main intention of using big data platform is to store large data set and volume of data. Usually the data will be generating at a higher velocity. It will be of different varieties, and also it will be of different quality. So you need to deal with big data. So for that you need parallel processing systems. Without parallel processing systems, you cannot store big data, because that such huge amount of data with higher velocity, higher variety, and higher veracity will be producing. So the main the functions that should be provided by a big data platform. So it should provide the capability for storing, processing, and analytics. It should store the data, it should process, then it should analyze to gain some business knowledge. You should develop, deploy, operate, and manage big data environment. The platform should scale up itself. So if there are any additional data, it should scale up. You should deploy the data. So these are the things that big data platform should provide. It should reduce the complexity of multiple. That means if you're getting the data from multiple data sources, proper integration needs to be made so that the analysis, it will help for the analytical part. Then it needs to provide some querying capability, then integration with some other systems. So it should also work with the traditional data, not only with respect to big data, it should work along also with the traditional data. Data management, storage, and analytics of big captured at the company as service require the following. So if you are capturing the data at the companies, then the following services needs to be provided. You should provide a non-traditional method for storing your big data, because your traditional method is not capable. Your SQL is not capable of storing big data. It is capable of only storing the relational data. Distributed data sources, even the data stores. So it should have data stores distributed over a network, because a single data store may not be capable of storing that huge amount of data. Creating scalable, that means as the data is keep on increasing, you should scale your resources to store that particular data. Huge volume of data stores, massive parallelism, that means the storage should take place parallelly, or the processing should take place parallelly. So only if that can happen, then you can limit the number of resources that can be used. If you are not making parallel activities, then you need many more resources. Then the networks, you should be of high speed. The communication takes place in a faster manner. High performance, the processing should be high performance. Your data management should be based on NoSQL. It should not be based on SQL. Then analytics, with respect to analytics, you can make use of in-memory column format or in-memory row format that I explained in my previous presentation. Then once the analytics has been made, you should have proper reporting and visualization tools. So you can make use of many machine learning algorithms. You can make use of many data warehouses. You can make use of many data sources. So these are all the services that needs to be provided by any big data platform. So these are all the tools that needs to be provided. These are all the services that needs to be provided by any big data platform. Your Hadoop is one such tool which provides two major services. It provides HDFS, that is Hadoop Distributed File System, for storing the content, and also it provides MapReduce for processing. For storing and managing, it provides HDFS. For extracting and processing, it provides MapReduce. As you can see, this is a diagram where this is the Hadoop. This is the storage where you are storing your big data. Here is the actual extracting and processing takes place. This is the Hadoop-based big data environment. So as you can see, your Hadoop distributed file system can fetch the data from all these sources: high volume social media data, it can be Twitter data, Instagram data, Facebook data, your document images, web server data, logs data. This all will be stored in Hadoop distributed file system. So your Hadoop distributed file system will make use of many data warehouse, data mart, and operational systems in order to store all this kind of data. Once the storage is done and proper management is done, your MapReduce can make use of all this data in order to extract and process that particular data. That is with respect to Hadoop. Then there is one more concept called as big data stack. What actually do you mean by big data stack? As the name itself suggests, it provides a set of tools and technologies in order to store this big data. A stack consists of a set of software components and data store units. Application, machine learning algorithms, and visualization tools use big data stack. All the application or machine learning algorithms or any visualization tool can make use of this big data. It can be used as a cloud service, such as Amazon. The stack uses cluster of high performance machines. Since this particular stack uses a cluster of high performance machine, you can efficiently make use of this particular stack in order to do any big data activities such as analytics or making use running the machine learning algorithms or using some visualization tools. So these are the tools that generally be used in a big data stack. So it produces MapReduce for these are the MapReduce tools you can use in order to perform some extracting and processing. You'll be having Apache Pig. This all you will be learning in your next modules. NoSQL databases for storing the data, processing. These are the tools which can use for processing. It also provides some servers in order to perform some operations or computations. Then for storage, you can make use of HDFS and Amazon Web Server. So this is a big data stack that has been provided as a cloud service, which makes use of a cluster of high performance machines. So these are the things you need to remember with respect to big data platform. So are there any readily available big data platform which I can use in my application to deal with big data? Yes, there is a readily available big data platform. So these are the tools you can use with respect to big data platform. These are the services that is provided by big data. You can make use of Hadoop and MapReduce in order to deal with big data. This is a platform. And also there is a stack which is provided as a cloud services, which consists of a cluster of high performance machines. The last topic we are going to cover with respect to this particular big data analysis is big data analytics. So firstly, we saw what is big data, how big data storage is different from your traditional storage. We saw we will be using NoSQL or not only SQL. Earlier we will be using SQL, that is only for relational database, but we will be using NoSQL to store big data. These are the different classes available in NoSQL. Then we saw how your traditional data can coexist with your big data technologies. Then we saw whether there is readily available big data platform available to deal with big data. Lastly, we are going to deal with big data analytics. So now you have obtained the data from various data sources. Now you have stored your data. Now you are managing your data. Then you have made some processing. Now you need to apply machine learning algorithms to perform some analysis. So once you perform some analysis, you will gain some business knowledge. You can make use of that particular business knowledge to make profits. So DBMS or RDBMS manages the traditional databases. Data analysis needs pre-processing of raw data and gives information for useful decision. Analysis brings order, structure, and meaning to the collection. Data is collected. So once you do proper analysis, then you can make use of that particular analysis to make the changes into your business. Once you make changes, once you make decisions into your business, then you can start making profits. So the definition for data analytics. What actually do you mean by data analytics? So you'll be making use of some statistical and mathematical data analysis that clusters, segments, and predicts future possibilities. That means you'll make use of machine learning algorithms. Those machine learning algorithms will make use of some statistical and mathematical techniques. Those statistical and mathematical techniques will do some clustering, will do some segmentation, will do some ranking. So all this visualization, all these reports will make you to predict the future. So once you can predict the future, you can bring the necessary changes into your business so that you can start making profit. Actually, will be an important feature of data analytics is predictive forecasting and prescriptive capability. That means you will be predicting what might happen in the future, what might be the demand in the future. If you can efficiently predict the demand in the future, then you can make huge amount of profit. So what is analysis of data? You are going to inspect data. You're going to clean the data, then you're going to transform, then you're going to model the data. This transformation and modeling will happen with the help of this cleaning, transformation, and modeling will happen with the help of a machine learning algorithm. Why you need to do all these things? You'll be discovering some useful information. Once you take that useful information, you can suggest some conclusion, then you can make decisions in your business. So if you can make proper decisions in your business, then you can successfully make sure that you are developing huge amount of profits. So there are major phases with respect to analytics. There are 4 major phases that provides business intelligence and which helps generate knowledge from the business intelligence. First one is descriptive analytics. That means from the reports and visualization you generated, you'll be deriving some additional value. So you'll be deriving some additional value. That particular phase is called descriptive. Predictive analytics, as the name itself suggests, you'll be making some predictions about the future. You'll be making some, based on the facts and knowledge you have obtained, you'll be making some predictions about what might happen in the future, what might be the demand in the future. Next one is prescriptive analytics. So what this will do, it will also generate some additional value. That additional value will enable you to make better decisions so that you can maximize the profits in your business. Next one is cognitive analytics. Cognitive analytics is nothing but based, it will be with respect to your human mind. That means your mind will have a role to play based on the knowledge you extracted. So you will be taking decisions individually as a team. That means a human will take a decision from the additional value that will be taken. So based on that, you will make some better decision. So these are the phases you can see with respect to analytics. So this is a traditional big data analytics architecture reference model. Figure 1.9 shows an overview of a reference model for analytics. So these are the architecture, traditional and big data analytics architecture for analytics. So the right hand side, as you can see, the figure also on the right hand side of the big data file system. These are the machine learning algorithms and the big data file system that has been used and the query languages. And this side contains the different storage capabilities. So let's go through them. So as you can see, these are the sources from where you can acquire your data. So there might be many sources. It can be data source, external data sources, big data source, or enterprise data source. It is company level data source, company server level data source. So these are sources for acquiring data. Once you acquire the data, you need to store that data. Either you can store the data in traditional data source, that is using SQL, or you can store the data in data warehouse using big data technologies. So while you're storing the data, once you obtain the data, you can store the data in big data technologies such as HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System. The data will be stored in an organized fashion, so that the analytics becomes easier. So then here the actual analytics takes place. So these are the tools which support analytics. So you'll be performing some statistics. There will be some query you can perform. You will be doing extract, transform, loan. You'll be making use of MapReduce to perform some analytics. So in order to perform this analytics, there are some support. There is a library called as Mahout. This can be run on machine learning algorithms. This particular library can be run on all the data. So these are some of other tools which can be used to perform the analytics. Once the analytics is done, it will give some reports. So you can make use of these reports and visualizations in order to make some business decisions. This is how actually the big data analytics takes place in using all these tools. Also with the traditional tool. As you can see, you're using traditional data store to store the data. So you can use these particular steps for both traditional as well as for big data. So we saw the definition of big data, then we saw the phases involved in analytics, then we saw what are all the different tools and technologies available to deal with analytics. Then there is one more analytics stack which is called as BDAS. So in our big data platform, we saw big data stack, which provided major technologies to deal with big data. There is a variation of big data stack, which is called as Berkeley Data Analytics Stack. So what is the importance of this particular Berkeley Data Analytics Stack? The importance of any big data lies in the fact that what one will do with that particular big data. You can store that big data, but rather than thinking how big that particular data is, what information you are gaining from particular big data, what business knowledge you are gaining from that particular big data, that plays a major role. You'll be identifying whether the gathered data is able to help in obtaining the following finding. You obtain some big data, you'll be seeing whether this particular big data will reduce my cost, whether I can make a cost reduction in my business, whether I can make a cost reduction in my process, whether I can reduce the time that I'm taking to process this data, to run my business, whether I can make new product planning, whether I can, from this information which I have gained, whether I can develop a new product, whether I can plan a new product, whether I can make any smart decisions using this analytics, whether I can discover any new knowledge using this analytics. So these are the things you can gain when you perform analytics. So your big data analytics is very cost effective. It needs to be innovative. Only when it is innovative, you can make sure you can gain some information. Your Berkeley Data Analytics Stack, it is an open source data analytics stack. So the first stack we used is for storage, but this Berkeley Data Analytics Stack is for data analytics. It is an open source stack. It can be used for complex computation. If you are performing a huge amount of computation, you can make use of Berkeley Data Analytics Stacks. So large scale ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಬರ್ಕ್ಲಿನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. So your Berkeley data analytics stack consists of three major services, that is data processing, data management, and resource management. You collect my data and process ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, correct ಆಗಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಬೇಕು until you make some decisions. Then resource management, ಈ ಡೇಟಾ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. So these are some of the things you need to perform with respect to Berkeley. The following list this. So these are some of the data processing and data management and data. For example, for data processing, you can use batch. Batch means you will be waiting for all the data to arrive, then you will perform the processing. Streaming means as soon as the data arrives, you will perform the processing. So resource management software command for sharing the info across various frameworks. That means you can share the infrastructure across various networks. That means not only on a particular server, you can parallelly process the resources along the network. So these are some of the data processing management and resource management tool. So this particular figure shows a 4-layer architecture for big data stacks. So this particular 4-layer architecture for big data stack can be used for data analysis. As you can see, this is one of the widely used big data stack. So it consists of 4 layers of big data stack consisting of Hadoop. Hadoop is nothing but HDFS and MapReduce, Spark, Spark SQL, then Mahout. As I had already told, Mahout is a tool which can be used for analytics. Your machine learning algorithms make use of Mahout. Kafka is a tool which is used for accepting data and processing the data. So Kafka can be used for accepting and processing the data. So as we can see, these are the 4-layer architecture that is used. So first one is Hadoop and MapReduce. So here you will be performing parallel processing, parallel task. So once the data is stored and managed, it needs to be extracted and processed. That processing will take place in a parallel manner. So once that has been done, you will be storing the data using HDFS compatible data storage such as HBase, S3, Amazon server. Then you will be processing the data using a Spark tool. Once the processing is done, then you will be making use of Mahout and different tools in order to perform the analytics that will be used at the application level by the business. So this is how you can make use of the big data stack for performing all the operations of big data storage and analysis. So your Berkeley data analytics stack is an open source stack, data analytics stack, which will be mainly used for performing complex computations. So it is used for large scale, dealing with large scale amount of data. It can provide data processing, data management, as well as resource management. So in this particular presentation, we covered many topics. Firstly, we covered how we can use NoSQL in order to deal with big data. We are using SQL to deal with RDBMS, relational data. So what are all the features with respect to NoSQL that we saw? Then we saw how your SQL or traditional data store can coexist with the big data. Then we saw the tools and the services provided by big data platform. The stack, there is a stack which is an open source, which can be used as a cloud service in order to deal with big data. Lastly, we saw what is big data analytics, what are the phases in big data analytics, what are all the different tools that you can make use in order to deal with big data analytics. Finally, at the last, we saw one open source stack, which is Berkeley Data Analytics Stack, which can be mainly used for dealing with complex computations of big data. So just go through the entire presentation, watch your previous presentation before watching this particular presentation. Before that, make sure you read the notes of what are all the topics we covered in our class. In our next presentation, we shall try to cover the last topic of this particular chapter, which is big data analytics, application, and case studies. So in which all application, in which all real life scenarios we can make use of big data analytics, that we are going to see in our next presentation. Thank you.